All right. We are live. We're live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We're live everywhere. Thanks everybody for jumping in here. If you don't know me, I'm Brad Hebner. I am the founder, owner of the Hammer and Grind podcast. I help contractors maximize their profits in their business, get off the tools before burnout or financial ruin. That's what I do. So, why are you here? You're here hopefully to learn something about the business side of construction. And that's what we're going to do. So, today we're talking about the big E lie. Now, some of you may have heard or read the book, The E Myth. It's my number one book that I recommend, The E Myth, The Entrepreneur Myth. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the big E lie, and the E is efficiency, running an efficient business. Why is this a lie? So, we're going to deep dive into this. We're going to be talking about why everyone believes this lie, how costly this lie is, and then we're going to talk about how to fix it. Okay, how to fix this lie. So, why is being efficient a lie? I don't understand, Brad. I mean, wouldn't you want to be efficient? Well, yes, you do want to be efficient. But what happens is that the lie that people believe, that contractors believe, is that you have to be efficient in order to make more money. Therefore, the only way you make more money in your business is by being more efficient. And while there is truth in that, obviously, if you can do something in half the time, or if you save 10 minutes every time you execute something, there's time savings there, right? Which translate into productivity increases or making more money, essentially. That is true. Those are all true statements. But I'm assuming that with this conversation, I'm not talking to people that are still going around with a horse and buggy and building houses by hand with, a mallet and a handsaw, right? I'm assuming a certain level of efficiency already exists in your business. You probably have a vehicle, a truck, a van. You probably have some tools, maybe not a ton of tools, but you have some tools to be able to do your job. There's probably already a base level of efficiency in your business, right? So that's where we're starting from. We're not starting from somebody who's never done anything. So, what is the lie? The lie is we set a rate, which sometimes is totally fictitious. Sometimes it's what we think people will pay. Sometimes it's we ask our buddy who just started his business a year earlier, how much do you charge per hour? He tells you. Sometimes it's based on our boss that we're working for. We find out that he charges 40 bucks an hour for what you do. And so we start our business and we either use that rate or we undercut it a little bit so that we can get some more business, underneath there. Whatever it is, we start with some kind of rate in our mind of what we charge, and then we start out, right? And we start making money. And over a period of time, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, we get established in our business in terms of what we charge. Okay. And so what happens is after a period of time, again, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, we're like, man, we're not making enough money. I'm not making enough money. I'm not making enough money. I need to become more efficient. If I was just more efficient, that would allow me to make more money. I could do more jobs there, ergo make more money. And again, the principle there is true. Like that is a true statement. You'll make more money being efficient, but you'll never ever make the kind of money that you want to make solely by being efficient. It will never happen. I promise you. I know this because I did this myself. I believe this lie. I 10x'd it. I took this lie to the 10 times degree of what you can possibly do, and it did not generate more income. What it generated was having more tools and more useless crap that I didn't need, simply under the disguise or the guise of being more efficient, right? Now here's what you need to understand about efficiencies. Efficiencies is a bottom of the funnel activity. What does that mean? Bottom of the profit funnel, if you will. Okay. So What's that say, Austin? We listen to this guy for real. How much are you making a year, and why should we believe you? Hey, buddy, I have 50. I have 50K. What can I do with that money to double the money? Yeah, I'll get to some of those questions here in a second. Austin, you don't have to listen to me, man. If you're still watching, go ahead and hop off there. I don't. I'm not. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So, and I'll answer these questions later on. I'm not going to stop again to jump onto the questions. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. I'll answer them. I'll get to a break and I'll answer them. Okay. So, the bottom of the funnel. What does that mean? Well, if I sell a job at $10,000 and I have an X amount of profit built in there, right? Maybe I only mark up materials 30%. I mark up my labor 30%. I have a fixed, profit margin of what I can make. So I want to try and make more money. So what do I do is I try to be more efficient. Well, I've already sold the job, so I can't make more money through the sales process, right? So if I want to make more money on the bottom of the funnel, which is the efficiency, I might, if I'm like super duper efficient, I might be able to save, a few hours of my time, or maybe not waste as much materials. Maybe if I'm lucky, I might save like $250. Maybe, like, if I'm really, really good at it. If everything goes perfect and I do really good and I save all this material, I may save $250. That's a bottom of the funnel activity. It means I can only save that on the bottom end. If I raise my prices by just $500 on a $10,000 job, right? Which should be more. We're not going to get into that right now. But if I just simply raise my prices $500 on a $10,000 job, I will have doubled the potential of what I could make simply by being more efficient. Now, if you are more efficient and you save 250, great. That's more power to you. But instead of only making $250 more profit through efficiencies, if you raise it 500 plus you did 250, you actually made $750. But even if you weren't more efficient, let's say you had no efficiency and you made $0 to efficiencies, you still made $500 simply by raising your prices. And so this efficiency lie, it comes from not understanding business. It comes from not understanding how transactions happen in the real world, because most of us as craftsmen never went to business school. Most of us never learned about value to price discrepancy, right? Most of us never learn these things. We are really good at our trades. We're craftsmen. We know how to do roofing, concrete, trim, drywall, paint, tile, whatever it is that we do, electrical, plumbing. We're really, really good at those things, but we're not good at the business side of it. Okay. And so this is where we get tripped up, because we have a fixed ceiling in our head of what we can charge. It's a limiting belief that we come up with. I can only charge X amount. This is all I can charge. Therefore, if I want to make more money, I have to be more efficient. Or the second lie, which I'm not going to get into too much today, is scaling our business. In other words, hiring more people. By the way, if you try to hire more people before you maximize the amount of profit that you can make, you will put yourself in the hole faster than if you just stayed smaller and made more money. Because if you're not maximized on profit and you try to hire more people, you have very thin profit margins. All it takes is one employee to screw up this, one thing to happen over here, and now all of a sudden you're in the hole, but you're still trying to make payroll. You're still trying to do all these things, right? Whereas if you maximize your profit first and you're making lots of money, then you could hire and scale if you want, right? This is common. People try to be more efficient and then they try to scale too fast and they're really not even ready to scale. Also, if you don't have processes and procedures in place now, when you're small, when you're a 1, 2, 3 man crew and you're trying to grow that at 2, 3 crews, if you don't have those things already in place, what you're going to end up doing is scaling chaos. If your business is chaotic with yourself or with 2 or 3 employees, it doesn't get easier by having more employees. It actually gets harder. So now instead of having 1 fire to put out every hour, now you have 3 fires to put out every hour if you're having multiple crews, right? So when you're not set up like that, what you're actually scaling is a turd. You're scaling a big turd, and big turds are hard to flush. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about scaling. Back to efficiency. What is it about efficiency that attracts us? Now, this is my belief. This is what I believed. Now, it may not apply directly to you, but this is my belief, and it was a fixed belief that which would cause this. So, as a contractor, younger contractor, 30-something-year-old, younger compared to where I'm at now, all right? Some of you may be in your 20s, and that's cool. But from where I was like 10, 12 years ago when I first started, my belief was that, yeah, I'm not making that much money, right? But if I buy this tool, this $300 tool, this new DeWalt, multi-tool when they came out, if I buy this tool, it will make me more efficient, which is true. The multi-tool is a great tool that was invented, very productive tool. I love the multi-tool. I have like 4 of them, okay? But I would buy this tool to make me more efficient. And then I would buy that tool and I would use it, and it would save me some time. It was an efficiency thing. And then I needed another tool, right? And then I needed another tool, and then I needed a bigger trailer, and then I needed another van, and all these things. And I started investing in all these tools. And I believed in a lie that if there's anything that would make my job easier, faster, or cheaper, I would invest in it, because those are the 3 qualifiers. It would make my life easier, right? I could get done faster. I could do something cheaper, make my life easier. And there is truth in all of these things that I'm saying. But what happens is, when you're not making enough money, when you're not really making good money, you start to look at investing in tools to be more efficient. It's a vice. It becomes a vice, right? Now all of a sudden I have a bunch of tools. I'm not really making good money, so I can't. I'm only paying myself maybe 40,000 a year, which isn't enough if you own a construction business. But I'm spending $10,000 a year on tools, right? And it's making me more efficient. It literally was a belief that I was in a way making it in business, because I was spending so much money on tools. In reality, it was just masking a belief that I needed these things, right? It's almost like people have shopping habits. It's a vice. What do you call it? Addiction. So buying tools almost becomes an addiction, and it's really there to mask the real problem, which is I'm not making the amount of money that I want to make, right? And it's all in the name of being more efficient. If I have 2 vans that are completely outfitted with two sets of tools, then I could have 2 crews going in different directions, and I can be more efficient, and I could do twice the amount of work. That's true, but if you're still not charging enough money to begin with, it doesn't matter. You cannot you cannot create enough efficiency in your business to outpace the profit of simply raising your prices. Does that make sense? You can't outpace the profits by becoming more efficient. So here's the other thing that's crazy: when you raise your prices, which, by the way, this is how you fix the E lie, which is the efficiency lie. The very first thing you should do in your business is max out your profits. That's it. Max out what you can possibly get with your profits. What happens when you're making more money? If you all of a sudden start making 20 to 25% more profit on every single job you do, and let's say you're doing a $10,000 job, and now all of a sudden, instead of making, $1,500 profit, you're making $4,000 profit, right? You're making $2,500, $3,500, $4,000 or $5,000 more on every single job that you do. What does that do for you? It frees up all kinds of money, right? It gives you money that you could go out and invest in tools. You can invest in processes and procedures. You can invest into things that's going to make you more efficient. But what most contractors do, they hit the ceiling. It's too cheap. They're not making enough profit, so they got to be more efficient. And then a lot of times they'll put on debt. I did it. I bought some toolboxes for my truck, some side boxes, because it was going to make me more efficient, right? $2,600 for some nice chrome, whatever, the weather guard chrome diamond plate, toolboxes, $2,600 for the toolboxes, $1,500 for my aluminum System 1 ladder rack, all top of the line. Because I got to get the best stuff. Come on, guys. Seriously. You got to buy the best tools and equipment, right? Not making jack crap for profit, but these things are going to make me more efficient. If I had a good ladder rack and these toolboxes, it's going to make me more efficient. And so now I go and I put $2,600, $3,000 on credit cards that I end up paying for, who knows, a year or two, trying to pay off the minimum payments, right? Because I just had to have those things. So this is what we do. Maximize your profit first. And then once you've maximized your profit, now you can start being more efficient. It doesn't work the other way. If you're more efficient, but you're not making profits, you're never going to make enough profits in your business. So I want to take a quick break here and answer some of these questions. If you have any more questions about this, drop them in the comments, and around efficiencies or even around profit, we can chat about that. I saw a bunch of them come in. Let me, excuse me. Let me check something here real quick. That's what I wanted to see. I should have logged in earlier so I could see the questions. I'm going to go backwards here a little bit. So Hoftech Industries, this is not just contracting. It's exactly what I had to learn in making holsters. Yeah, man, it applies to any business for that matter, 100% across the board. What's your thoughts on time and material bidding? Says, who was that? Today's Tile Co. Yeah, you can do time and material. I don't have a problem with time and material. You just have to factor in your profit into your hourly rate, right? So if you're going to do time and material bidding, your hourly rate might be 100, 150 bucks an hour plus material. Now, it also depends on what you're doing. Like if you're doing service work, like if you're a plumber and you're doing a service call, typically is hourly rate, right? Labor and materials, but you're still going to mark up materials and you're going to have a fixed hourly rate. Probably going to have a trip charge, probably going to have a minimum service call or minimum trip, minimum like 2 hour minimum. I did some service work and I had a 2 hour minimum plus a $40 trip charge. So if you wanted me to come out and change a light bulb, it was $240. My hourly rate at the time was $100 an hour for one guy. Excuse me. So I don't have a problem with labor and material. Now, if you're doing like remodeling a bathroom, you should not be doing time and material. You won't make as much money doing time and material if you're doing certain jobs. It's always better to bid jobs. You can always make more money bidding jobs. That's just a psychology thing there, and it's also people are willing to pay a fixed rate. Like if you called me and said, "Hey, I want to replace my kitchen faucet. What's that going to cost me?" And I said, "Yeah, it's $300." Right? Okay, now you know what it's going to cost. But if I said, "Oh, we have an hourly rate of $100 an hour, and it typically takes about 3 hours." Well, now I don't know. Maybe you take 5 hours. So now maybe it's going to be $500. I don't know if I want to take that risk. Plus, the more efficient you are at working hourly, the less money you make. So I don't have a problem with hourly for smaller jobs. I definitely would not do it on a bigger job. Like anything more than 1 day's worth of work, probably would not recommend hourly for the work. I would shift over to a fixed price. So maybe like anything under 4 hours of work would be hourly, and then go to a day rate. But honestly, the day rates, half day rates, fixed price are going to be much better. JNA.high says, I used to think having more guys would make more efficient, but it cost me more and I made less. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It's 100%. When you hire more people, it splits your time in half. It also causes more problems. It actually causes you to be more inefficient if you don't have things already in place. I keep telling guys all the time, when you're starting out, like if you started a business tomorrow and you're just a one-man show, you should be documenting every single thing you do in your business. At the end of each day, you should have a work diary of everything you did that day, what went right, what went wrong, how long each thing took. If you're a handyman, I'll replace a ceiling fan. installed a door and cleaned some gutters. Okay, how long did each one of those things take? If I'm a carpenter and I'm doing, built-in bookcases or whatever, how long did it take this day? Okay, the first day, all I got done was, cutting the boards or whatever. It took me this many hours. I did this. It was raining outside. That slowed me down by an hour because I had to get out the tent. Blah blah blah. You should be documenting every freaking thing of every day that you do, especially when you're starting out, before you scale at all, before you add any employees. And then whenever you add employees, just know that their production time is probably going to be about half of yours. Like, seriously, if you could do something in 4 hours, it's probably going to take them 8 hours to do the exact same task on average. So documenting all that stuff, super important to being more efficient, by the way. Let me go back to some more of these questions. What percentage of bids should you land? Probably around 20 to 30%. Now, this is going to depend on the quality of the leads, right? But across the board, you should be around 20 to 30% closing rate on your estimates. Now, if you have a super locked in customer avatar and your marketing is pinpointed towards them, your closing rate could be much higher because you're only attracting the people that are ideal customer to you. And so then you may be higher. But if you're getting everyone, like most contractors, probably 80-90% of contractors kind of use a wide net approach where they just market to everybody and everyone they can get their hands on. You should have about a 20 to 30% closing rate. Johnny's Not Funny said, is there a difference in pricing residential versus commercial? Yes and no. It depends on what you do. It really depends on your trade. So if you're a carpenter, for example, you're pretty much going to be probably the same price across the board, commercial and residential. But if you're a general contractor, then your prices are going to be significantly different for commercial versus residential. It just depends, honestly. There's really no set thing on that. What else? Okay, let me go back and see, make sure I didn't miss any. What I recommend the profit margins to be 50%, Miami Chick. You should get a 50% gross profit margin. In other words, 100% markup on your labor and or materials if you have them, and subcontractors for that matter. Okay, cool, Austin. I see you're still there. What else we got? Oh, Austin, why should we listen to this guy, but for real, how much are you making a year and why should we believe you? So, Austin, I stopped operating my construction business in January of this year because I started doing coaching full time. I started my coaching business last year, like 2 years ago, and I was running my construction business and doing coaching at the same time, and quickly realized that was not going to work out. So I made the decision, based on a lot of factors, to start doing coaching full time. So why should you believe me? I don't know that you should believe me. I mean, I have a crap ton of content. I don't know. I don't even know how many videos I've made, but I got a crap ton of content. And I get people every day messaging me, telling me they've used stuff they've learned on my free content, just my free content, and they've made money. They've saved time. They've made money. I was on a live a couple of weeks ago, might have been last week, and a guy that he comes on my lives usually said he made 400 times the profit since January. 400 times the profit just from my free advice that I gave. So I don't know if that's a good enough reason to believe me. Benjamin says, I have 50K. What can I do with that money to double the money? Well, that's a good question. I don't know if there's a secret formula to double the money. because I honestly don't know where you're lacking in your business. Like I have no idea anything about your business. I would, and this is not a sales pitch. In order to give you a good answer, I'd have to get on a phone call or have a conversation with you to find out where you're at in your business. Maybe you're not charging enough. It's not so much having money. It's not so much having money in the bank that's going to allow you to double it per se. I just don't know. I'd have to talk to you to find out everything about your business. How many, I mean, do you have employees? Should you hire employees? Should you buy vehicles? Should you spend it on marketing? I don't know enough information about you to be able to give you the golden key to um, doubling your money. Uh, Sorry, I couldn't help you with that. Got some agreeing, got some things. Yeah, Hoftag. Okay, I think we're caught back up here. So I see some comments going on here. Um, Austin's asking some questions. Guess he's giving me some crap. Hoftak says you should believe him because this information is real and valuable. I appreciate it, Hoftak. I own a custom renovations company in Columbus, Ohio. My question is, do you turn down jobs? I've turned down jobs all the freaking time, Mark. Last year, I turned down almost $300,000 worth of work just last year. Like I couldn't get to it. I just phone ringing off the hook. Couldn't get to it, so I turned down $300,000. I actually had a $100,000 job. It was a grant. It was a VA grant remodeling a veteran's home. Pretty much had the job. I spent almost 4 months negotiating everything in this job, and then in January, when it was time to sign the final contract and get start the work, that's when I made the decision to do this full time. And so I gave that job to a friend of mine. It was $100,000 grant. The job was going to be $96,000. I gave that job away because I couldn't. I was changing directions, and so it just didn't make sense. And I probably had 40 man hours invested in doing all of the legwork for that job because it's a government job, so it's crazy paperwork. But it was the right thing to do for the customer, so I did that. Uh, yeah, Wood says you have to. There's too much work out there. Yeah, nowhere near what he's making. I'm sure. I'm sure Benjamin should hire more guys and expand. By my biz is hammer and nail. By LL. Is that Josh? Is that you? By LL88. Is that Josh? Is that you? I think that's you. Trim carpenter by myself for 3 months on my own. Should I get an accountant? Yeah. There's three things. There's three professions you need to have in your corner: an accountant, an attorney, and a insurance agent, a really good insurance agent. Those are three professions that you should have as a business owner. And I mean good ones, and that means they're going to be expensive. Now, the insurance agent's not going to be expensive, but your accountants and your attorneys should specialize in contractors or construction companies. They're probably going to be expensive. Those are two people that you should have in your corner that you do not want to cheap out on. So yes, you should get an accountant, or it doesn't have to be an accountant per se. It can be a bookkeeper, but yes, you should have an accountant. Mark Casino 7 says, I do too. Then people think I'm rude or don't like them personally. You mean if you turn down jobs? I mean, you have to be tactful whenever you turn down jobs. There's right and wrong ways to turn down jobs. Yeah, you guys are having conversations back and forth. So I think I'm caught up on the questions for now. So let's recap here shortly. Some of you might have jumped in at the end or didn't catch everything. the lie that we all believe is being more efficient. Efficiency is a bottom of the funnel activity. We should always raise our prices. Basically, we should max out prices to where if we drop below 20% closing rate, if we're raising our prices and our closing rate goes from like 80% to 15%, we might question some things, right? Because you could just have the wrong clientele. By the way, when you raise your prices, guys, you have to raise your clientele. That's simple. You can't be working on mobile homes. Nothing wrong against people living in mobile homes, but you can't be working on mobile homes and then raise your prices and be the most expensive person in your town and then expect that everyone who lives in that mobile home park is going to pay your prices. You have to elevate your customers as well, right? For most people, that's going to be middle class to upper middle class to the rich. Like those are going to be your target demographics. Sometimes lower class people or the lower bottom of the middle class will still hire you because they just value the work that you do. But for the most of the time, it's going to be upper middle to to higher end class people that are going to hire you to get the rates that you're charging to have a profitable business. Today said I had a phone call and missed your answer to time and material biz. Yes, I don't have a problem with time and material as long as it's under a certain like smaller jobs. If you're doing more than a day's worth of work, you shouldn't do time and material. If you're doing service work, I have no problem with time and material, but you should have a trip charge. You should have a minimum hour, like 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour minimum, something like that. And your profit margins all have to be built into either your hourly rate and or marking up materials, right? So it just depends on what you're doing, but you can make more money bidding jobs than you can hourly. Hourly is safer. If I was doing something that I had really no idea how long it's going to take, what I'm going to get into, what the problems are, I may do it by the hour because it's safer for me. And, it's also going to be somewhat fair for the client. But you just don't know. I mean, I would bid jobs before I do hourly. Hope that answered your question. Today's Tile Co. Just looking to see if there's any more questions. So, maximize your profits first, right? Then with the profits that you have, now you can invest in efficiency saving devices, tools, people. Sometimes being more efficient is just more efficient with your time, not more efficient on the job. So, for example, if you are answering the phone, if you're doing everything in your business and you're doing all the admin stuff and you're sending people invoices and you're collecting checks and you got to put the checks into the system and then you got to do all this admin stuff. When you charge more, you could hire an assistant. You could hire an office manager. And now they start doing the low level tasks that you're doing and that frees up your time to do more high level tasks. You are consistently making 50% profit and it's just you and one other guy. When is it right for you to start hiring more guys? When you're working, when your overtime is paying for the salary of another guy that you're hiring. So if you and another guy if you're making 50% gross profit truly, and you and the other guy are working overtime, maybe you're both working 15 hours a week, say, right? Overtime. When your overtime is more than what it would cost to hire that person, that's when you should hire someone. And when you're consistently doing that for, a month or two. A lot of times guys will get super busy, like in the summertime, and like, oh, I got to hire a bunch of people. And so they hire like 2 people. And then August comes and the phone stops ringing and then they got to lay people off. So we don't hire for busy season. We hire for the average across the board. Wood Warlock says, as a customer, they would love to receive a credit at the end rather than having to ask for more money. It depends on, you talking about with hourly or with a fixed price? Wood Warlock. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Where do I find my leads? Most of my leads came from referrals or the internet, Google. In my area, Google, I dominated Google. I was number one on the map pack. If you search for anything around construction related to my area, I was number one organically. I had I don't know, 100 and I lost count. I forget. I think I had 122 reviews, maybe 150. I don't even remember how many reviews I had. But whenever someone searches for your trade, your town, and you pop up in the Google review, the Google map pack, and you have 150 150 reviews at a 4.9 star rating, and your closest competition has 12 reviews, they're going to call you first. I cannot put enough emphasis on reviews more than anything else. Like reviews of your business single-handedly is the best marketing you can do for your business. And for some reason, people don't believe me. I just have a crap ton of reviews. It just makes sense. What do we do when we buy stuff on Amazon? When we go online and look for something, what's the first thing we do? We look at the reviews. I just bought a ozonator, a little ozonator yesterday, an air purifier ozonator, because I have a rental property. People moved out. It stinks in there. Bought a little ozonator, was $66. I'm like, surely it's $66. It can't be worth anything. That's like super cheap. Like, it's got to be crappy. I pull it up. There's 16,000 reviews, 16,000, and it's got like a 4.8 star rating. 16,000 reviews. I'm like, okay, I'm buying it. Like, even if I waste $60 or $60, $70 or whatever it was, I'm buying it. You can't fake 16,000 reviews. You just can't. So we use reviews for sure. That's a good question, Megapons. 4.2 or 5.0? That is a great question. And I truly believe that it depends on the person. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here, right? Obviously, 4.2 is probably a little bit worse than a 5.0. But if you're talking about like a 5.0 versus a 4.8, that's going to be different. Here's the thing about reviews. I'll talk about reviews and then I got to hop off here. Kind of went a little sideways, but that's okay. Reviews, it's not just important to get reviews and that's it. So let's say you get off here like, oh, this Brad dude tells me I need to get reviews. So you go and you call 50 past customers, all 50 of them leave you a review. You don't say, okay, I'm done. And then that's it. Like, you don't collect any more reviews. It depends on the number of the reviews. It depends on the quality of the reviews, and it depends on the frequency of the reviews. Why does that matter? Because if you have, let's say you have 15 reviews now and you have a 5.0 rating, okay? But your last review was from 2 years ago. That does not tell me anything that you're doing in your business today. You could have been at the top of your game 2 years ago, killing it. But today you're absolutely terrible because you got whatever, you got lazy, something happened, you start sucking, you hire bad people, whatever, right? So if you have a review from 2 years ago, it does not give me any insight into what you're doing today. So conversely, if you have a bad review, let's say you had 5 one-star reviews, but the last one-star review was from a year and a half ago or 3 years ago. Since that one-star review, you've had 25 5-star reviews as frequently as 2 weeks ago. And everybody's saying the same thing. Brad did a great job. They showed up on time, blah, blah, blah. It's all real reviews. Do you really care about those 5 one-star reviews that they got a year and a half, 2 years ago? Probably not, because people can see through that. They can understand that maybe they were having trouble in their business. They got it figured out and now they're doing good, right? That's why frequency matters. The next part of that is you should, as the owner of your business, you should respond to every single review that you get, good or bad. You always respond. Why? Because it shows that you're an engaged owner. You're engaged in your business. You're there. You're responding to reviews. I don't care if someone says they did it, I highly recommend they did a great job. I'll respond because usually it's got their name. I'll say, Cindy, thank you so much for the review. Right. Or if they say, we just got a bathroom remodel done by Brad and his team, and they did a phenomenal job. Highly recommend them. I'm saying, Matt, thanks so much for the review. We really enjoyed working on your bathroom. Now, why am I doing that? Here's another little tip for you guys. Google crawls their own reviews. So keywords like bathroom remodel, things like that will actually get crawled by their bots. So the content that's in your reviews is actually SEO. So make sure when you're responding to people, you put in there like what they did, or you don't always have to do that, but it will be crawled by Google and their bots. So that's the thing on reviews. And here's the last tip on reviews. If you get a bad review, if it's a legitimate bad review, meaning you dropped the ball, they called you out on it, own up to it 100%. Tiffany, thank you for bringing this to our attention. I'm embarrassed to say that we dropped the ball on your project. Since this happened, this has enabled us to put policies and procedures in place to make sure that no one else has the kind of experience that you had. We appreciate you bringing this to our attention. Please reach out to me. And some people will put their cell phone number. I don't do that, but some people will put their cell phone. Please reach out to me directly so that we can resolve this with you, depending on if they're talking to you or not, right? Sometimes people won't even tell you to your face, and then they go to reviews afterwards and leave a bad review. Those can sometimes be fixed by calling the customer. Hey, Mary, I just saw your review. I had no idea what's going on. Talk to me. And they may, you may be able to solve that problem and then have them go and remove the review or change it. But if they're like ignoring you, not returning your calls, they say, screw you, I'm not talking to you. You just go in there and you own it. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. We put policies and procedures in place to make sure this never happens again. Don't blame. Don't make excuses. Just own it. Now, if someone's giving you a bad review and it's not true, like maybe you did work for them, but everything they saying is not true, do not attack them. And do not attack them in the reviews. If you can't get them on the phone, they're ignoring you, just simply go in there, state the very basic facts, say, please contact us so we can work this out. And that's it. Don't go in there and start attacking them. Tim, we tried to call you 4 times and you didn't answer. I came by your house and you weren't there and knocked on your door, left you a message. You didn't do anything. We've tried we've tried everything to work this out, and you're just ignoring us. So basically, you're just a piece of crap. Don't do that. People can see that stuff. People can see through the reviews. They can read it. They can see it. I had a guy that left a bad review for me on the Better Business Bureau, and he was complaining about a very petty thing. It was true, but it was very, very petty. And I just left a factual review. I wasn't attacking him. Just left a few facts about what we did to try and rectify the problem, where we did wrong, what we tried to do. And I had a customer like 6 months later. She said, I read the review on the Better Business Bureau. And I was like, my first thought was, oh crap, like, what's going to happen? And she said, yeah, that guy was ridiculous. And I was like, oh, I didn't say this, but I'm like, she totally picked up on it just from reading his review and my response. She came to the conclusion that customer was being ridiculous, and he was. I didn't have to persuade them in any way. And so that's what I mean by people will read through and understand what's going on. With that, I do need to hop off here, guys. I appreciate you jumping in and watching. If you want to learn more about what I do and how I help contractors, you can follow me on my profile or join my free Facebook group, the Contractor Profit Blueprint. I do a lot of things in there to help out contractors. I have free resources, but always reach out to me if I can help you in any way. Just reach out to me. Follow my channels, follow my podcast, and I'll be here to help you. So I appreciate you. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks.